Quilt Co. I'm Danae. Today I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks on sewing an accurate 1/4 inch seam consistently. Because after all, what is more rewarding than opening up your block and seeing the points have come together perfectly? The first thing that we unfortunately can't get around for a perfect 1/4 inch seam is accurate cutting. If your fabric isn't cut precisely, there is absolutely no way for you to have a perfect block. So my number one tip for accurate cutting is starching your fabric, followed closely by making sure your rotary blade is sharp and you're cutting on a flat, sturdy table. Now that we've got our pieces perfectly cut, the next step in a perfect and consistent 1/4 inch seam is to use a patchwork foot. I have two that I use interchangeably, one with a guide and one without. If you are a beginner, I highly recommend using the foot with the guide. Just simply having a patchwork foot on your machine is not necessarily a slam dunk in perfecting your 1/4 inch seam. From here, you want to measure the distance from your needle to that seam guide. I'm going to use a quilting ruler that has a 1/4 inch seam marking on it, and I'm going to line that 1/4 inch seam marking right up to my needle. Make sure it's nice and lined up, and I'm going to line it right up perfect, and I'm going to go ahead and lower my foot, and if you could see, that seam guide went right to the side of my ruler, just how I want it. So my needle is right on the 1/4 inch seam marking, and my guide foot is right to the right of my ruler, showing me that everything's lined up, and when I sew, I should have an accurate 1/4 inch seam. If for some reason yours is not looking the way mine is looking, you want to slightly move your needle from the right to the left in order to get it all lined up. Another tip is to use a leader and an ender. And all these are scrap pieces of fabric that helps prevent puckering and incomplete stitches. You simply want to feed your first scrap into your machine, and then you want to grab your perfectly cut pieces, make sure everything is nice and lined up, and then you're going to sew your 1/4 inch seam. Then you'll grab your ender and you'll feed that through, and you'll trim them off. Now let's test this out for accuracy. I'm going to use the same ruler that I used over at my sewing machine, and I'm going to line that 1/4 inch line up on the ruler with my seam that I sewed, just like that. And as you can see, a perfect 1/4 inch seam. One other way to check if your 1/4 inch seam is accurate is once you've sewn and pressed a unit similar to this, you can measure this middle square. And in this case, I need it to be 1 inch. So I'm going to line everything up, and it's 1 inch. So those are two great ways to test to see if your 1/4 inch seam is accurate. If your test didn't come out perfectly, then go back to measuring your needle and your guide and make some adjustments as you need to until you're getting results like this. Now that you've got your machine all set up and giving you the perfect 1/4 inch seam, the best thing you can do is practice, practice, practice. And of course, be patient with yourself. I hope this video has helped you perfect your 1/4 inch seam, and for more tips, tricks, and tutorials like these, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. See y'all next time.